In this video, I'm going to be looking at one of the most important HTML server controls. You will almost always use these controls on your web page, and is the control I'm talking about is the TextBox Control. So let's add one TextBox Control to the page. Usually this TextBox Control is used to take input from the user, so this is where your user type. So let's look at some of the property of the TextBox Control. So make sure that the text box that is being selected. Then now we can go through the properties. There is the access key. There is the tab index. This tab index, maybe I should just discuss the tab index straight away. The tab index allow you to create tabs for your. So right now, if I select the tab index for this to be 0, and that one will be 1. So I've numbered them. So when I tab, even though you will not be able to see. Hold on a sec. Why did I get an error? Okay, yes, of course I'm gonna get an error because I've deleted all the controls on the page, but I forgot to delete the drop down list from here. So let's delete everything that it's got to do with the drop down list. The events. Should we get an error now? We shouldn't, should we? So now I can use my tab. I can tab from one control to the next, even though you can't see what I'm doing. So you know what I mean by tabbing. If you don't want to use your mouse, you can just use the tab. So you can number all your controls on the page with this. Anyway, let me go ahead and demonstrate some of the properties of the text box. So you can set the appearance of the text box. You can just change the back color. Let me change for a while. That's the back color. You can change the border color to black. You can set the border to solid or anything you feel. Border width to 1 pixel. The columns, this is very important. You can set the width of the text box. You can set the width of this text box in character. You can say you only want it to be 50 pixels, so, and it's going to be only 50 pixels. So let's go ahead and do more modification. CSS class, you can add CSS class if you have any. We don't have any. So the font color, you can change the font color. Let me change this font color in this case to white because we've changed. So when we type inside, we get different. So you can set the default text. So this is default text that is displayed at runtime. So let me show you what that does. So when I run the application, the text will be displayed inside it. I must have pressed a tab in there. So and at runtime. Okay, so autocomplete type. The type of input content used by client browser for auto-completion. If you want to make it an autocomplete type. Auto post back, you know what auto post back does now, so you can set that to true or false, so that whenever this control loses focus, it is sent, the information inside is sent to the server without having to press the button. Causes validation, I explained this to you in the validation control. So if you want this text box to causes validation, otherwise you can just remove it from the validation group. enabled. If you want to enable this control, disable it. So if you don't need it, you can disable it. Enable theming. So when we're going to be talking about themes, enable view state, I'll be talking about this in the future. The max length, you can actually tell the maximum number of characters that can be entered into this. So this, in that way you can prevent, say for example you've set your database to only take 50 characters, so you can also make sure that in this text field, text box, nobody can enter more than which is good. It's a very good way of protecting your database. So instead of truncating the data before it is populated to the database, you can actually make sure that the user cannot enter more than that amount of characters in there. So let's set this to 10. Should we set this to 10? Okay. Now read only. If you want to make sure there's just read only, let me show you. If you set it to read only, then user cannot type inside this. Okay, so let's delete that. You see, we cannot do anything in here because it's a read only text box. Okay, let's set that now back to false, and let's do something with it. If we set it to false and delete the information in, so now let's start. This is the, you see, we cannot enter more than 10 characters. Even though I'm trying to type now, it's not allowing me to type because I've set it to only take maximum of 10 characters. So the best part I want to show you is the rows. When you set the rows, you turn it to a text area instead of a text field. So you turn it to a multi-line text box, the number of lines to display. So if I set it to 10 rows, then it becomes, if I set it to 10 rows, let me show you. So if you set it to 10 rows, then you set the text mode to a multi-line. Can you see what happened? That means now you turn it to a text area. This is what text area does. So let me show you, if I can show you the so now, even though we can't type more than 10 characters, remember? No, I think that has been overridden now because it becomes a text area now. Let me show you the source. Can you see? We get a text area. We get a text area. Rows is 10. The columns is 50. Okay. Now let's go ahead and I want to do something. I want to change it to a password area. So when you change it to a password, the text mode, this text mode you can either use a single line, which is the common for text box, then the multi-line, which returns it to a text area, and the password. The password, when you choose the password, then anything you type inside, you will not be viewable to anyone. So you see that? I'm sure you've seen that. So I cannot enter more than 10 characters now. So now it has been turned to, you see. Alright, let me show you what I just did. Because I type in, even though I didn't click the button, look at where my mouse is. As soon as I click away, as soon as it loses the focus, the information is set to the server. Do you know why that is? The reason is because we enabled the auto post back, because here I set the auto post back to true, so they automatically post back to the server after the text is modified. So that's it, really. That's it for this. So the validation group, you must know what this does in the previous videos. The tooltip is this is a tool text box. Let me show you what the tooltip is. So when you hover your mouse on top of it, there's a little tooltip that comes up. You see that tooltip says this is a text box. That's a tooltip. You don't have to click on it, just put your mouse over the control and you get a tooltip that tells you what the information is. Anyway, so that's the text box, and I hope you've learned how to use it. So you can turn your text box to a password area or a text area. Thank you.